Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Games I Speak. I'm Gio,
And I'm Josie.
and today we have a very special story regarding one of the most anticipated games of the year. um, and I just want to say before we start, if you like, comment, subscribe, that would really help us out, and let's jump right in. So, first up, we got 15 minutes of Elden Ring gameplay this week.
Yo.
And here's a article by PC Gamer where they just kind of go through some of the interesting features of the trailer that we saw or the gameplay that we saw. Um, but with that being said, I'm not gonna. I just picked this article because it had some cool screenshots and videos on it. But I wanted you and me to kind of discuss what we saw in the trailer that kind of piqued our interest.
Yes.
So yeah, let's start with you.
First of all, the world looks gigantic. I know that as soon as I finished, because I saw this before you did,
Hmm.
and as soon as I was like, "Have you all seen it yet?" And he hadn't said anything, and I was like, "It's Breath of the Bloodborne Sekiro Dark Souls."
Yeah.
So it feels it's interesting because I will admit initially I was slightly disappointed, and disappointed in that it does look a little bit more of the same.
Yes.
It definitely looks like a Souls-like game, which is their namesake for the most part, at least in this current generation. And I was actually hoping that they'd be like going like a hard left, doing something completely different. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that there was that piece, but at the same time, it did feel comforting, comforting to see things that I was already accustomed to, kind of like a lot of the regular movements, sounds, as well as NPC, like I guess movements, like like the backstab of the NPCs.
Yeah.
And it felt very, yeah, it felt at home, but at the same time I kind of wanted something new. I don't know how to really say that, but
Yes.
I'm completely ecstatic with what we've got. So
Yes. Yeah.
how about yourself?
Yeah. So I kind of had saw your sentiment in comments on
Yes.
in some of the articles in the video. People were like, "Yeah, this looks great, but it's more of the same," which is good and bad at the same time, right? Not bad, but good and not like what's the word? Enticing, right? The
Yes.
opposite of enticing, right? So,
Yeah.
but
It's not as exhilarating.
yes, but I will say that for me personally, I I wanted more of the same. So for me, it didn't disappoint because, and I know I've played all of them uh, of the Souls series, right? I've played all of them. I've beat them all, but to me, there's still nothing quite like going back and playing like Dark
Dark Souls,
Souls. Yes,
Demon
yeah,
Souls.
yeah. So they just still have that magic about them. You know what I mean? And I mean that's why people still play them to this day. Now, don't get me wrong, Sekiro was an amazing game, right?
Yes.
Um, but it was just like I don't know how to explain it. Sekiro, the precision of that game, right? It was like getting stabbed with a needle point dagger, right? But at the same time, the difficulty was like a sledgehammer. You know what I mean?
It was brutal.
It
It
was,
was a brutal game.
is yes, and
Very
that's
demanding.
that's coming from you who beat it how many times?
3.
You beat it 3 times, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I only beat it once because that's all my mental fortitude allowed me to withstand. Um,
It weirdly enough gets more difficult, but also easier. Difficult in that, the difficulty has been ramped up in terms of kind of like an endurance test, but
Hmm.
easier in terms of your familiarity with the game. That initial playthrough is the most difficult because you're not, you don't know the world, you don't know the movements of the enemies, and you start to really learn that. And by the second and third playthrough, you're kind of like, okay, I know what to anticipate, I know what to do. It's just like any other game where the more familiar you become with the game, and you're able to, I guess I already said it, anticipate its movements and
Hmm.
react accordingly.
Exactly, exactly. That's well said. So for me, seeing the Elden Ring gameplay, for me the big takeaway is that this really truly is an expansive open world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
And so for me, I am very happy that they delivered on that promise because the world does look huge. And you can see certain things off in the distance where you're like, what is that? You know what I mean? Like, what's that over there? And dude, the horse riding, um,
Oh my God.
yeah, it looks
Oh my God.
awesome, man.
The traversal is so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Sekiro's traversal. I think that was like the best out of any FromSoft game, but it was mostly because you are a ninja, and they really
Yes.
captured that whole like sneaking and the verticality of
Yes.
movement. Um, it looks like they've added speed to that, as well as a different type of verticality with how the horse is able to traverse large, expansive peaks with
Yes.
like specific locations.
Hmm.
That looked really cool,
Yeah.
and especially since they added the Sekiro kind of like, you're able to fall from large heights.
Hmm.
So that's nice without too much damage to you. Like I saw that one part when you're at a bridge, and your player character goes ahead, is like what's it called, beckoned by I guess an online player, and they're like, come on, and they jump down the bridge, and I was like, oh my God, that Dark Souls, Demon Souls, you're dead.
Yes. Yeah. You're
You're
dead.
dead. Well, in Dark Souls 3, they have certain areas where you're able to drop from large heights.
Yes.
I'm looking at like the DLC for Dark Souls 3, but aside from that, like, no, that kind of jump is not something that you can do. And they've included jumping. There's jumping in this game,
Yeah.
so it very much seems like an amalgam of everything they've done before, um, honed to razor sharp in this game, and it looks phenomenal, and I'm excited to play it. But at the same time, yeah, there's pieces of me like what you just said where I do revisit, and I was already thinking about revisiting Dark Souls, the first one on
Yeah.
Switch, because I own it on Switch, and I've yet to play it on Switch. I've played it everywhere else. I've played it on Xbox and the PS3 and PS4.
Hmm.
But I was just like, you know what? Let's see how it is mobile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I can just wait for it to come on the Steam Deck. But uh, but no, I just wanted to go back to that world in Demon Souls. I constantly go back to it, and it's mostly because those games are so specific.
Yes.
Like there's nothing quite like them. There's
No.
there's clones, but there's something about them, the amalgam of the gameplay, the story, the art direction, the music. You just can't. It's lightning in a bottle, and they captured it in a specific way. Each iteration of game, like for Dark Souls, is a little different than Demon Souls, and Bloodborne is different than Dark Souls. So I'm hoping that we see that again. And Sekiro is different than Bloodborne.
Yeah. No, you're right. They all have their own like specific charm to them, and even the Dark Souls, like Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, are all have differences in them. You know what I mean? That the players can feel.
Yes, yes,
Um, but that being said, some things I want to bring up. The combat looks very, very similar, right, to Dark Souls, but the movement speed is more faster, like Sekiro or Bloodborne. Um,
correct.
I did see counters, like you said, backstab. Um, they
There was a
show
there was stealth.
there was stealth. There was magic. I saw them in the beginning. Remember, he was throwing magic missiles.
Oh my God, the magic in this looks so good.
Yeah,
Like I know Geo. I was literally thinking of you as I was watching, because I remember when we were living together years ago, and I think you were doing a sorcerer only run in Dark Souls.
Dark Souls 2.
Dark Souls 2, and you're having a hard time with that, I think.
I ended up quitting and switching to sword and shield and beating the game.
Yeah.
But I will say this: sorcerer build, you're very powerful against bosses because of the ability to avoid melee damage,
Yes.
but you struggle with enemies in the fact that you have to conserve your ammo and you have to actually switch between melee and your magic.
Glass
I,
cannon.
I didn't know that, so I would just run out of missiles and I couldn't. It was just frustrating for me. So that's why I didn't know how to properly balance a sorcerer in Dark Souls. Um, that being said, would I pick up a sorcerer in Elden Ring? Maybe, but on like a second playthrough.
Hmm.
On
I'm
the
or Go ahead.
yeah, on the first playthrough, I think I'm gonna stick with sword and board.
It's so funny because literally I am gonna be breaking my because usually I'm one of those people, and I'm probably gonna get hate on the comments. I'm an endurance guy.
Yes.
I focus on endurance. I like the speed. I like the sticky white bow from Demon Souls. I like sniping fools.
Yeah.
um, but the magic build, or at least the magic attacks in this gameplay reveal, look so awesome. I want to be able to do all of it. I
Okay.
want I want to do that soul great sword move where he just like charges it up and then unleashes that.
Yeah.
I really like that one from the like of the online player character where he took a dragon head. It looked like from a like a boss move, so
Hmm.
maybe boss abilities. The dragon head and just like started just spewing fire.
Yeah, that was actually
Um,
pretty awesome.
oh yeah, that was really cool. So
But
and then
that's the magic of From Software games
yeah,
is that they put all this crazy stuff in the game and it's totally up to the players to figure out how to put it all together. And
yes, yes.
and pyromancy. We haven't seen anything on pyromancy. You know what I
No, we
mean?
have not.
Because
I mean, it might not even be in there.
it might not even be in there. But for me, I have done hybrid pyromancy builds before,
Mm.
and those are a lot of fun because it gives you the opportunity to use magic, but also if you want to just do pure melee, you can do that as well.
I mean, correct me if because I can't recall right now, but pyromancy in general is kind of broken in Dark Souls.
Yeah,
Like you were like OP.
it is. It's very the damage from it is very powerful.
Everything was weak to fire.
Yes, almost everything is weak to fire. So yeah, pyromancy is pretty strong. Now the the other thing that I will say about the game is, and this article brought it up, was the style of the game.
Mm.
Things look more colorful. You know what I mean? The world looks more colorful, and the speculation that I heard was that this is before the destruction of the world. This takes place right leading up to the destruction of the world. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Whereas Demon Souls and Dark Souls,
it's already
it's
after
already
the
after.
destruction.
Yeah, it's already after the destruction of the world. Whereas this world looks way more vibrant, and maybe that's why you even have a horse. You know what I mean? Because in this game, maybe you're trying to stop the destruction of the world. So I thought that was a pretty interesting theory that some people are talking about as well.
That does sound cool.
Yeah.
One thing that I was really liking was the fact that it felt like, and I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and like word salad this out. But it felt kind of Oblivion slash Elder Scrolls ish, like going into random dungeons,
Hmm.
and I like that idea of like going into these miniature dungeons and running into like skeletons and trying to get loot per se.
Yes.
Uh, I dig that. I'm really happy that they've incorporated something like that. It kind of reminds me of Bloodborne's Chalice dungeons. I lost so much time doing that. I
Yeah, those
loved
were
doing
fun,
Bloodborne.
man.
Those were a lot of
Those
fun.
were fun.
but they weren't integrated into the actual single player
No,
in any kind of,
no.
I guess, cohesive way.
It was kind of
Uh,
artificial.
correct,
Yeah,
correct.
it was very disjointed from the world.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I like that, and it just feels like the world is very lived in. We saw a video by Zuli the Witch.
Hmm.
I shared that video with you. Were you able to see it?
No, I didn't see it. Can you explain it?
So Zuli the Witch, I believe, is a Souls hacker.
Hmm.
They tend to post videos where they hack into the Dark Souls games or Bloodborne, what have you, and kind of give us an in-depth look that the developer probably wouldn't want you to see
Yeah.
in terms of how the backbone of the game. Anyways, they have like a like a first preview look. It's like how does this game look from the perspective of a Dark Souls hacker? And they pointed out some things that I didn't think of, that when initially the player character passes by the caravan in the beginning, the caravan doesn't aggro the player character. It's not even attempting to attack or even really notice you. It's kind of like doing its own thing. And
Yes.
that gives you the feeling of a lived in world. Like you're not the complete focus of the world. Everything else lives in it and is doing their own thing until you ultimately interact with them, or that there's a reason why they want to interact with you. And I think
Yeah.
that's very cool.
So yeah, let me kind of expand on that because that's how a lot of okay, so here's a rudimentary example. In World of Warcraft, right?
Yes.
You have green NPCs, you have yellow NPCs, and you have red NPCs. Green, they're friendly. Yellow is neutral, and red is hostile.
Mm.
So within the game, there's factions. So for example, if I see like a group of yellow, NPCs, I can go kill them if I want to, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Now, if I do that, my reputation declines with that. If they're a faction in the game, my reputation declines with that faction, and therefore I go more towards red, where they can become an enemy, right?
Yes. Yes.
And once you make a faction an enemy, it is very, very hard to get in their good standing because you would have to find a way to to gain favor with them outside of speaking with them because now they're just going to kill you on sight, right?
Damn. Okay.
So the way you're saying it, there might be factions in the game where you might come across certain tribes or species in the game where maybe they're friendly to you or maybe they're hostile or maybe they're neutral and you have to gain favor with them if you want,
Well,
right?
that reminds me of Dark Souls. I mean, we had
Yes.
clans.
Yes.
You had different clans that you could be a part of, like the I forget what the clan was called, but the Forest clan with Alvina, the cat.
Yes, I know what you're
And
talking
if you
about.
if you attacked any of the Forest clan, you were like enemies, and they would attack you like on sight. That was the best place to grind, by the way,
Yes.
for souls. But still, yeah, like you could be friends with them, and you could, and that actually led into the multiplayer of the game as well, because you can do like a lot of online multiplayer within that forested area,
Yeah.
which is super cool. So yeah, if they expanded on that like that, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. And so I hope that that's something that they'll do because you're right, it makes the world more lived in.
Live, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
super exciting.
yeah, I'm very excited for this game. You and me, we were talking before the show. We already pre-ordered the collector's edition on GameStop.
Yep.
Um, Now there's still some PS4 versions. I know a lot of people don't want those, but these are going to be hard to get. So I would say don't scoff at it if you don't have a PS5 yet.
Yeah, and if you
Um,
want those like goodies, and I mean, I don't know if there's going to be like a smart delivery type thing where kind of like the Final Fantasy 7,
yeah.
where it's like if you own the PS4 version, don't worry because it'll translate to the PS5 version.
Yes. Yeah.
So I
So
hope they do that. They should be doing
they
that.
should do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, there's there's a premium edition which hasn't been put up yet. So you and me, we're gonna try our luck at that.
Yeah, I want that 1-to-1 helmet.
Yeah, dude, that how big? So that helmet's full size?
I can fit a cat. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I might put it
It
on
just
my
it just
dog.
reminded me it just reminded me of like Halo 3, the collector's edition of that, and
Yeah.
you got Master Chief's helmet, but it was like fit for a cat.
Yeah, it was like
You
this
couldn't
big.
really actually, yeah, you couldn't actually put it on. Which, funny enough, GameStop is actually releasing soon. I think it's up for pre-orders. An actual replica, like head-sized replica of Master Chief's helmet.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah,
That.
I'm debating whether I want it or not because I was like, I haven't even beaten Halo 4.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is true. You haven't, but it's not the best story.
Yeah, but one through Reach, one, two, three,
Amazing.
three ODST,
Incredible.
and Reach, all incredible games.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
freaking love that entire series, and it was very, very formative for my FPS background,
Yeah,
which I mean isn't substantial, but I just really enjoyed playing them.
yeah, they're amazing stories. So yeah, there you have it. That's our kind of like rundown on the gameplay. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's pretty nice.
Yes.
Um, all right. So next up, so this is a what do you call these infographics?
Yes.
So this is an infographic made by a gamer. Says soaring neutrality. So this person allegedly plays Genshin Impact. So this is from an actual player. And so what he did was he broke down all the predatory mechanics within the game, right?
Damn.
And so this is a big discussion point among Genshin Impact players because they like the game. Don't get me wrong. They play the game. They enjoy the game, but they're noticing that there's too many predatory practices. And if you read through this Reddit, you'll see a lot. Like, look at this. There's 23,000 upvotes on this post. So it obviously made an impact, right?
Yes.
Um,
A Genshin Impact.
yeah. Again, but you'll see a lot of the comments are people are saying that they play the game, but if somebody asked them if they should get into it, they would tell that person no because of this, because of these predatory things. So let's take a look at them, and then we can kind of discuss.
Okay.
So icebreakers. These are good deals. Starts players spending, more likely to spend after. So I assume this is like, when you buy, you get a cell phone game, and they're like, get a starter pack. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
we'll give you this, this, and this. So
For all intents and purposes, this is a cell phone game. It's a gotcha game.
it is. Yeah.
It's just the gameplay is completely different and it's on more powerful hardware. But
Yeah.
the actual like meat and potatoes of the game in terms of its currency and gotcha system is very akin to anything you'd find on a cell phone.
And the game is on mobile.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah. The game.
I personally have not played it. Just
Okay, okay.
full disclosure.
I played it when it first came out on PS4,
Yes.
and it is a beautiful game. It really is. You can tell the game was really well crafted. But anyways, let's get back to the issues that are with this game. Multiple currencies, harder calculations, distances, real money from games. So this is a strategy that a lot of gotcha games use, where instead of just having one currency that does everything, they put multiple currencies that do different things. And the reason they do that is because it confuses the player into not realizing how much money they spend. So it just kind of like confuses people, and then they're like, "Crap, I need this currency, and then this currency, and then before you know it, they already spend $100. You know what I mean? So it's a really predatory practice.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
I can see it.
So uneven purchases. Want to buy once? Too bad. 160 equals one wish. 60 equals 0.375. 300 equals 1.875. and then you get the picture, right? So
Yeah, no, it sounds very difficult to calculate.
yeah, so the way that they sell these Genesis crystals for wishes, they it's not this is how many wishes you get. You get a certain amount of wishes, and then you get a fraction of a wish, which leaves a little bit of currency in your thing that you can't spend, therefore creating like a psychological prompt to buy more. And also, we can point out this bonus. See how it says bonus plus whatever?
Yes.
Bonus, whatever. That's also another
It's a selling point.
selling point, yeah, to make people buy it because they're like, oh, I can get this,
Yeah,
extra.
exactly. Yep.
So, dude, we're like halfway. there's a lot. There's a lot in here. All right, so habit formation. Reward daily gameplay. Login becomes routine. So here you can see they have a daily check-in, and up here you can see replenished in, and it lets you know, and then fully replenish. Now this is very common with mobile games. They want to keep you coming back, so they reward you for having a. It's you know what it reminds me of. You know when you go to like a frozen yogurt place and they take your card and they like stamp it.
Okay.
It's like that, except for if you miss one day, you go back to zero.
Oh no, no, no. Of course. I
Yeah,
mean, yes. No, I agree.
yeah,
I'm no stranger to this.
yeah. Progression. Four options: skill, luck, grind, and pay. Skill-based games make less money. Grind keeps players. So if you look here, the skill is not highlighted, right? Which means that skill plays the least amount in here. Luck plays a little bit higher than skill, and then grind and pay are the two biggest uh, factors for progression in this game. Either you play a ton or you just buy it. So um, that's yeah, that's a big issue with these types of games. All right, scarcity, missing out, limited time. This is
Mm.
FOMO, fear
Yep.
of missing out, right?
Yeah.
So what a lot of games do is, especially games with like battle passes, they'll be like, all right, you get all this awesome stuff in this battle pass, but you have to finish it in 8 weeks or else it's gone forever. And then it forces the player to play like a madman. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so this is what they're doing here. They're saying, hey, you want this? Well, you got to get it now or else it's gone forever. It's fear of missing out, and it really plays on humans' uh, fear, pretty much, and it makes people more aggressive in pursuing this item, right?
Yes. Yes.
So that is a huge predatory practice. Okay, social proof, normalized spending, content creators, whale abyss runs, name cards, avatars. So this is when a company will, for example, do you remember when I'll bring this up. So do you remember when the game Ark, where you like tame dinosaurs and stuff like that? Do you remember that game?
Yes, but I was about to say you don't even have to go and choose a different game. Like literally, I follow a couple of content creators, who will actually post like I spent $2,000 trying to hunt a specific character in Genshin Impact alone.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, that's a great
So
example. Yeah,
so no, I've seen a lot of like YouTube and here's the thing, a responsible content creator, which the ones that I've seen have done this, they'll be like, "Do not do this.
yeah,
I'm not encouraging you to do this."
yeah.
But just the actual fact of showing it and sharing it
Makes people want to do it.
does make people like, okay, well, there's someone like me that wants to do this and has expendable income, like $2,000 to spend on a gotcha game.
Yeah, and that's the whale aspect.
Correct.
Now, the one I wanted to get into was Ark. the creators of Ark. Remember they made that pirate game? Um, crap, I can't remember the name of it at this point, but it was like Ark, but it was like a pirate game, and you would
It was Arc colon Pirates.
yeah.
I'm
Um,
kidding.
but so what they did was they had a special day where they took all these big influencers on Twitch
Yes.
and they let them all play the game early. And so everybody saw it and they're like, dude, this is awesome. I can't wait. And then everybody bought the game. And then when the actual game was launched, it didn't work. And,
Nice.
and so they created all this FOMO, all this hype by using influencers. I guess FOMO is not the right term, but hype. They created all this hype using influencers.
Interest. Yeah.
Interest. And they used a server and a version of the game that wasn't even the actual game. They were playing on a different server designed for them. So when
Freaking
the
lame.
actual game ran, it couldn't handle the players and it crashed for days and days. So these are all very powerful things that work on people. Obviously, it worked on me because I bought the game and I was waiting to play it. um, so yeah, just be aware of that. And then sunk cost. Loss aversion, once invested, feels bad to stop, pity, daily commissions. So this is the sunk cost. People call it sunk cost fallacy because I think some people don't believe it's real, but it's real. If you invest a lot of time in something, you don't just want to throw it away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why people stay married. But yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't bring this up. But yeah, jokes aside, this is a excellent infographic that this person made.
Phenomenal. I think it's great.
And
It could use a little bit more visual pizzazz,
yeah,
but
this
but in terms of information and breaking everything down, I'll tell you right now, I've fallen for all of this.
yes, we
I've
both
fallen for
have.
all of this. I've fallen for this through Final Fantasy Brave Exvius and Let It Die
Hmm.
on the PlayStation. I spent close to I think $100 on Let It Die, and I found that difficult to stop until it was just too difficult.
Yeah.
I literally kept dying. And funny enough, they're coming out with a new Let It Die like expansion or something or other. And Brave Exvius, I spent like around $40 to $60, and I've got nothing to show for it. Like I still have that game on me,
Hmm.
and funny enough, I'll download some games hoping it'll change. A good example is Near Reincarnation. I
Hmm.
really love the Near universe, and Near Reincarnation is the latest gacha game from Square Enix, and they did that thing where you're talking about in terms of FOMO. They currently have a Dragon Guard 3 pre crossover, which I just got a notification for,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I haven't even started the game, and it's mostly because it's a gotcha game, and I
Yeah.
know it's gonna lead down that same rabbit hole. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, why did I even download this? Why
Ex-
am I doing this to myself?
and but you know what it is? It's because they're like, you can only experience this story arc if you
Correct.
download this game, and people like you that are real fans don't want to miss out. You're right. It is FOMO.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's frustrating.
It is very
Because
frustrating.
I do want to experience the story. Like another good example is Kingdom Hearts, Cross Chain Memories. Like that or Key, Kingdom Hearts Key back cover, whatever it's called. That game, that mobile game, actually played an integral part to the story.
Hmm.
It's actually kind of like a prequel to all of the Kingdom Hearts um, series in general, and it even has like a close to 2 hour movie
Hmm.
within the Kingdom Hearts HD collection,
Hmm.
as well as um, a beautiful, glorious call out in Kingdom Hearts 3 itself.
Okay.
And so, like that mobile gotcha game actually was an integral part to the Kingdom Hearts story. Not the most necessary. Don't get me wrong. I say
Yeah.
integral, but and you could avoid it, but at the same time, that it does play a part in its story. It's like part of the backbone.
Yeah.
Like, what can you do about that?
Well, you know what?
Just
That's
just wait until some YouTuber
exactly.
or someone goes
Yes.
ahead and it's like, hey, Here's a breakdown.
Yeah.
But then you're not experiencing it, and you're not experiencing it with everyone else, because I'll tell you right now, when Kingdom Hearts 3, when that connection with Key happened,
Yeah.
I was like, it hit my heart, because I was actually part of
The
the
mobile
yeah,
game.
I was part of that mobile community that assisted, and it definitely has a greater impact when you are part of that community rather than experiencing that story through a third party.
Yeah. No, I totally get what you're saying. It is a big problem in gaming right now, and it it's sad to say, but as long as people keep giving their money, it's going to keep happening. You know. So me, I've checked out of that. I no longer partake in that. For
No,
me,
that's fair. I need to
yeah,
do the same.
for me the biggest game was Pokemon Go. I now granted when it came out it was very simplistic. So, but hey, if you're walking and you see a Pokemon you haven't gotten yet and you're out of balls and you can't go to a ball stop and get a free ball, you're going to buy it because you don't want to miss out on that Pokemon. You know what I mean? And that's what happened to me. And so I spent over $100 on Pokeballs, and I did get a what's it called? Um, damn, who does Dratini turn into again?
Bruh. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you're not a Pokemon player.
No.
Yeah,
I didn't get into Pokemon Go
yeah.
like y'all fools.
I
Like y'all
forget
were
it.
like
It's a big
doing
dragon.
Pokemon parties.
Yeah, it's a big dragon, and it's one of the best. It was in the first iteration of Pokemon Go. It was the most powerful Pokemon, right?
So
So,
that $100 was worth it.
so I guess because I would go to the little arenas and just put them up there and kick people's asses, but at the end of the day, I was like, this is not sustainable. I can't keep spending money, and I don't have time to go to a stop and get because there was none near my house, right?
Yes.
So I was like, screw it. And my house spawned all these amazing Pokemon. It was it was so frustrating.
Because you were out in the boonies, bruh.
I know. I would go walk my dog and it was like Dratinis were everywhere. And people who live in the city, they could not get a Dratini to save their life. They would have to like go to the coast or something, right? So I was like swimming in Dratinis and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because I lived near some water.
Yes.
That's why I was able to do it. But it was like crap, man, and it just got so out of control. It really did. I even downloaded an app, a program on my phone that hacked into their API, and it would show spawn points in a 5 mile radius of my house.
Damn, son.
So I would like. I remember one night I saw a not a slowpoke, a
Slipknot.
no, no, not a slip, not a slip. Damn it, I'm forgetting all the names. The big dude that falls asleep. Snorlax. Snorlax. I saw Snorlax, which was very hard to find.
Mm.
And it was in a neighborhood that was like down the street from my house. So it was like 10 at night. I jumped in my car, drove there, and there was a line of cars for
Oh,
people.
snap.
Yes, yes. There was like 4 or 5 cars trying to catch this Snorlax.
Were you able to get it?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
got it, and I felt really happy. But when I got home, my wife was like, "What are you doing?" She
What are you
was
doing
like,
with what are you doing with your life,
"Yeah."
bro?
She's like, "Where'd you go?" I was like, "I had to get this Pokemon."
No, 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 no. I wish you were like, I'm cheating on you.
Yeah,
Like that was like a better lie.
that was a more logical explanation than I got to go drive down the street and get a Snorlax at 10 at night. But you see
Uh,
this what the power it has over people. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
real.
yeah, yeah,
It is
yeah.
real. So
Wait, do you still have Pokemon Go on your phone?
no, 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 no. I got rid of it.
Bro, you
Yeah.
lost all those sweet Pokemon.
No, 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 no. It's saved
It's
to
still linked to your
my
account.
my Google account. Yeah. So if
Fair,
I
fair.
download it again, I can still get it. But the point is, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable long term. It's a waste of money. You're going to run out of money. It's much better to just buy a Pokemon game and play it. You know, spend however 40 hours you want into it, and then that's it, right? It's just much more economical for the gamer. It's a better use of your time as well. So yeah, just people be aware that these things are very powerful forces that basically tap into your reward system, and make you want to do these things. So it's very important. This is a very good public service announcement by this guy, and I really believe that this type of stuff is going to be taught in you know like psychology class. You know what I mean? Like,
They need to. I mean,
yeah,
honestly, with the fight against EA in Europe over their predatory loot boxes system,
ultimate teams.
this falls under that similar vein.
Yeah, yeah,
So yes, no, they're playing into the psychology of people, and honestly, it's being monetized in such a way that they're getting away with this kind of murder.
yeah. It is. It is.
um, and and it really preys on young people that don't know better, uh, but also on anyone that is susceptible.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
So there needs to be a better way of policing these kinds of predatory practices.
Yes, you're right, and that only comes from
Government
a
intervention.
government that can actually do it.
Which is why gambling is the way it is. You can't just gamble anywhere.
I Yes, because it would destroy society. You know what I mean? And so you have a young impressionable generation of kids that are growing up essentially gambling
Gamblers.
in these games. Yeah. So
Yep.
it's not good. It's not good, and it really does have to be addressed. I'm not saying shut it down, but what I am saying is it's got to be regulated. It really does. Yeah, that's that. I think we covered a lot there. So next up, we have Square Enix claims Crystal Dynamics was the wrong fit for disappointing Marvel's Avengers. Now,
Really?
I know, and we
Ah,
can get into this. So when I read this, I see a cop out.
yep.
I see a cop out of Square Enix where it was their idea, it was their vision. They just hired Crystal Dynamics to build it, right? It I think throwing Crystal Dynamics under the bus is not useful for not only Square Enix to evaluate why it failed, but for the player base as well to ensure that they get a quality game in the future. You know what I mean? So let's look at. It was actually in a podcast, I believe. But let's read this. Marvel's Adventures was an ambitious title for us in that we took on the game as a service model, Matsuda said. We overcame a variety of unexpected difficulties in the final phase of the game's development, including needing to transition to work from home due to the pandemic. We were able to surmount these challenges and release that game, but it is unfortunately not proven as successful as we would have liked. Nonetheless, taking on the game as a service model highlighted issues that we are likely to face in future game development efforts, such as the need to select game designs that mesh with the unique attributes and tastes of our studios and development teams. So see right there, they're shifting the blame onto the developers, and that
Yes.
is a very dirty move.
May I say something
Yeah,
though?
yeah,
And I mean, granted, I haven't read the entirety of the what's it called? Oh shoot, the article.
yeah.
But I think this is a method of also saving face and not putting any blame on whatever Disney slash Marvel might have done in order to
Inhibit the creativity of the game.
correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's a good point, and we can get into that.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
while the new challenge that we tackled with this title produced a disappointing outcome, we are certain that the game as a service approach will grow in importance as gaming becomes more service oriented. How we go about creating new experiences by incorporating this trend into our game design is a key question that we will need to answer going forward. Um, so here we let's see. Crystal has always been a company that's made games in the action adventure space, he said. In that sense, I thought that it would be a good fit in terms of making a game with Marvel using the Avengers, which would naturally be an action-based game. Um, so yeah, there you have it. And also, this was another controversy.
What is?
They put paid EXP boosts in the game.
Yes, but they
They took
just
them out.
removed them
Yes.
due to backlash.
Yeah.
Yes,
So they
but no, completely
yeah.
agree. Yeah,
And
it is dirty.
and then there's one more thing. This is commenting from a surprising collaboration. Xbox Game Studios boss Matt Booty said that partnering.
You're such a child.
I know, but that name, dude, Matt Booty, said that partnering with Crystal Dynamics on Perfect Dark was a no-brainer. Uh, it was not a standard situation because they're not usually out billing themselves as sort of a code development studio like many places are. But we found a way to make it work, and I think it was through some of the personal connections that we've got. So, yeah, the article tries to kind of balance that negative opinion from Matsuda
Yes.
by saying that, no, Crystal Dynamics is a good studio to work with. You just have to have good personal relations with them, right?
Yes.
Now that being said, let's let's go into this because you're right. To me, it seems like he's throwing Crystal Dynamics under the bus to save face, and we don't know all the details. We don't know how restrictive Marvel or Disney was with the design of the game because they like everything to be fit into this Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Which doesn't really work for some games. Hence, like Marvel vs.
Marvel
Capcom
vs. Capcom
Infinite.
Infinite.
Yes.
I was just about to go
Yeah.
there.
Which is a comic book style game, right? If you change the comic book aesthetic, it just doesn't work. So, with that all being said, what do you think? What do you think about this?
Wait a second. Wait. I thought you were gonna add something because I already said about the whole saving face situation against, and then not including Disney and Marvel. I mean,
Well,
so
I
one
mean,
thing
like in general, like the future of like them using games as a service. I guess we can get into that now. Like, what do you think? Like, do you think that because he seems adamant, he seems very adamant to have a successful game that runs as a service, right? So I don't think that yes, Marvel's Avengers is a complete failure. And this is no disrespect to the people who enjoy the game. If you enjoy the game, that's fine. I'm not criticizing you. I'm just saying that they didn't do the game a good job in the way they designed it and implemented it. But and I'm not blaming Crystal Dynamics fully for that either. I'm blaming a lot of the people on the top because it seems clear to me that their main focus is the business model of games as a service, right? He wants a game that generates a lot of money. That's what it seems like to me. So I don't
I
know what's your opinion on it because he seems like he's not going to give this up. Like they're going to come out with a new games as a service in the future. I'm guessing. That's my bet.
To be honest, I don't know enough about the history of Marvel games because I do know that there are some Marvel mobile games. That
Yes,
one like
there's a lot.
fighter, yeah. And in all honesty, I think Square Enix, at least their mobile division, has been successful in that gotcha games as a service system that way.
Yes, yeah.
Not in terms of like the console games as a service, but in terms of their mobile division really being successful in that regard. Like they've got like how many do they have? They have Brave Exvius, they have what's it called? Near Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, Final Fantasy. There's another one I forget.
Yeah.
Shoot.
I guess I.
But
Oh,
what
Dissidia.
this
Dissidia.
Dissidia is a fighting game.
Dissidia NT or whatever it's called.
Dissidia NTs was a fighting game. It wasn't like a game as a service game. I'm talking specifically about their mobile games. They have a Star Ocean one.
Oh, I'm thinking of something
They
else, not Dissidia.
they have a Record Keeper, Final Fantasy
Yeah.
Record Keeper.
There's another one that's there. It's not the maybe. Yeah, I'm wrong with Dissidia. There's another one where it's like they have like little chibi
I think
characters.
I think that's Record Keeper or Opera Omnia.
That's it.
Dissidia
Opera
Final
Omni.
Fantasy Opera Omnia. There it
Yes.
is. You're right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking of that Dissidia. Yeah. So you're right. You're right. I guess what I'm thinking of is like you said, a PC console games as a service game. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
and in that regard, they are correct. I think the actual CEO, even though it does feel dirty to hear, they are correct in that they don't have a studio that is well versed in an actual full-fledged console-based games as a service to kind of bring one that's knocks it out of the park. Like shoot, Crystal Dynamics, I loved Tomb Raider, their new Tomb Raider games. I loved Soul Reaver from back in the day.
Yeah.
Like those are the games where they truly shine. So I would agree to some extent that maybe yes, they weren't the correct studio to bring for this project, but at the same time, I didn't think that this project was even interesting to begin with because it was so to hear Square Enix partnering with Marvel, they chose the most Western developers in order to create games. It's like
Yeah.
I want something interesting like Kingdom Hearts, where they take a left turn, they give us something new and refreshing.
Yeah, and that was your big point that you made last time that I think is an excellent point. The the way they should have done it is they should have said, "No, here's our spin on the Marvel's universe." And by doing that, it probably would have been much better. Now, that being said, have you played it?
I have not even attempted to play it. Honestly, it does look bobo.
Okay.
I'm interested though. Though here's the thing, I am interested in their Guardians of the Galaxy, and that was also a Western developer, but the style of gameplay is different and it's more story
It's
focused.
more story focused, it's more humorous, it's more cartoonish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like these are the games that I'm interested in. I'm interested in Marvel's take with Spider-Man that came out recently. Also the new one coming out, Marvel's Wolverine, and then more recently, and these are all story-focused, gameplay-centered video games rather than the games as a service model.
Oh wait, hold up. They're coming out with a new Wolverine game?
Yeah, it was teased at the not the state of play. I forget when it was teased. It was teased recently.
Okay,
You don't
I missed
you don't
that.
rem Oh, snap.
I
Yeah,
missed
no, no,
that.
no. It's literally it's by the same developers. It's not Insomniac? Who did,
Yeah.
Spider-Man?
Oh my god, dude. If Insomniac is making a
Exactly.
Wolverine game, count me there, man.
Exactly, and it was just it's in the rumor mill, so take this with a grain of salt, but Amy Hennig, the creative director behind the first 3 Uncharted games,
Yeah.
is gonna be bringing a new Marvel game, and it's gonna be
Oh,
story
nice.
focused. And I'm thinking, yo, Uncharted, Marvel. Wait a second, and I
Yeah.
take a step back and I think of Crystal Dynamics. I'm like,
Yes.
Crystal Dynamics could have done something like that. They could have
Yeah.
taken any kind of specific Marvel character, made it story centric, gameplay centric. Take Lara Croft Tomb Raider, use a Marvel character. I don't see why that could have been a bad idea. And then actually have like a comic book writer write the story.
Yes.
I think that's a winning combination right there over what's going on with Avengers.
Yeah, no, you're right. Now, I will say I did play Marvel's Avengers a little bit. I played the beta uh,
Yes.
to decide if I wanted to buy it.
Okay.
And it was just so boring and sterile. It was like there was like I the the gameplay and the graphics were fine, right? There's nothing wrong with them.
Graphically, it looked in terms of art direction, it looked kind of off,
It
kind
did
of
it
like Marvel's Capcom Infinite.
yes, because but and you're right and to you would probably have to blame Disney for that, right? Because they're trying to keep that MCU aesthetic or whatever, right? But overall, like I can't say the graphics were bad, right? They weren't
Yeah.
bad. There's nothing really wrong with them. They didn't look. They look sterile in a way, but The gameplay was fine, but it was just the whole core of the game did not appeal to me. It's supposed to be like a beat 'em up, right? Pretty
Yeah.
much. But you know that beat 'em ups, that's tricky to make a beat 'em up as a game as a service. I just don't think it fit. But yeah, um, all those things aside, I wanted to pull this up. This is my copy of Wolverine Adamantium Rage for Sega Genesis.
Nice.
And this was one of my most favorite games as a kid. Now, this is a repro case. Um, and if you look, the actual cartridge is all
You need
messed
to bring
up.
that closer, man. I can't see that.
There's literally no graphics on it. See, the sticker's worn off. I played
That's
this.
definitely
This is
the kind of cartridge that you need to relabel. I'm sorry. I
yeah,
know you don't like to relabel
yeah.
cartridges, but that one deserves a
But
little bit more love.
this was one of my favorite games as a kid. This and X-Men for the Genesis.
X-Men for the Genesis was rough.
It was
I'm
hard. It
sorry.
was
It
hard.
was
It was rough. Yeah, but but
the
I
Savage Land level. I always got lost, and I think that's where I always quit.
the Savage Land level. I got to Magneto, and
Oh,
I
nice.
couldn't beat him. I
But
couldn't
the
beat him
X-Men
as
arcade game, now that was the joint.
yeah
Colossus Roar, anyone?
yeah.
Roar!
But yeah. So yeah, there you have it. Matsuda throwing Crystal Dynamics under the bus. But yeah, I think if they're gonna make the next games as a service for PC and console, they have to do a little bit deeper reflection than just blaming Crystal Dynamics. I
Well, but not just that, but also really internally think about where their strengths lie and where their successes came from.
yes,
Because just from the onset, taking in Crystal Dynamics and being like, yeah, do this, that already seems like an ill-fated endeavor.
yeah.
Their successes lie in something like Final Fantasy 14. And that is a game as a service. Why not make an Avengers MMO? Uh,
It may
uh,
maybe I mean there's the only like superhero MMO that I think was
DC.
successful was DC. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that people still play it.
Yeah, it
People
was
still
fun.
play it.
I
Yeah,
played it on the PS3 and the PS4. It was actually pretty fun.
yeah, yeah.
Um, it wasn't the best, and
And
I
yeah,
didn't stay for that long, but it was fun.
the graphics were nothing special. I mean, but the
It was
gameplay,
cartoony the
yeah,
way that it just worked. It's kind of like World of Warcraft, where it got the point across, and the way it looked was competent. It didn't
yes,
look
yeah,
ugly,
yeah,
which I felt like because Avengers was skewing so much to the movie side of things, it looked instantly looked off. It's like, wait a second, these are hand-me-downs of Chris Evans and Black Wit, Scarlett Johansson.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The voices and the way it just didn't. It yeah. It seemed like okay, if you're gonna do MCU, do MCU, right?
Yeah, it looked like you know what it's sweeted means?
It's sweeted.
Yeah, sweeted.
No, what's that mean?
Sweeted, I believe, comes from a movie called Be Kind, Rewind,
Hmm.
and at least that's where I first was introduced to the term. And the movie starred Jack Black and I think Mos Def.
Hmm.
And what they would do was they had a rental store, a VHS rental store that Jack Black had some kind of like magnetic device and accidentally wiped all of the VHS tapes
Uh huh.
to the point where they were just unwatchable. So what they did was they recreated the movies by themselves with like homemade items. And so like they'd play the Ghostbusters and they'd be like a cardboard proton pack, and they
Oh,
would tell the story
okay.
and actually like record it, and people like loved their takes on it, and
Okay.
that was called Sweeted.
Okay.
So it's like really like low, like in an indie film to like the most lowest extreme.
It's like that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they
Right, it's
remade.
Lethal Weapon. Yes,
Yes.
but even worse than that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right.
So it's like a sweeted version of Avengers.
Okay. That makes
That's what
sense.
I was trying to say.
Uh,
Yeah, and it just didn't. Yeah, whatever.
yeah. But the takeaway there is I hope the Wolverine game is good.
You need to look at well, there's no gameplay yet,
Okay.
but you need to look at the preview. The
Okay.
preview, it already feels like, yeah, the good Wolverine game here. You didn't bring it up, and it's in my room. X-Men Origins Wolverine, the game that came on 360 and PS3. The movie sucked, but that
Yeah.
game was fucking awesome, and it
Yeah.
was
Oh, man. I have it on
that was
my
a very
modded.
cool game.
Okay, I have it on my modded 360. I have to play it.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of fun.
Okay. All right. All right. So next up, we have some good news. PS5 reportedly no longer loses functionality when its CMOS battery dies. So, if you'll recall, there was a big scandal over Sony blocking access to, your console for the PS4 when the CMOS
Um,
battery died. Right? You didn't have access to your digital games, and you could only play offline games. And they fixed that. They patched it. Well, it was found that it was the same on the PS5, and now they fixed that as well.
that is phenomenal.
Yes.
But but they did it all quiet and secret, like.
I know, and that's what makes me a little nervous because why can't they just come out and tell the community like, "Hey, we hear you, and we're gonna fix this for you." Why do they have to do it all like, "Yeah, this never happened." You know what I mean? Like, like almost like it's gonna be a footnote on a Wikipedia page one day. You know what I mean? But hey, we have people like this guy, Hikikimori Media, which document it and really kind of spread it around. And then, Modern Vintage Gamer and all the countless YouTubers, ourselves
Yeah,
included.
we covered
Yeah.
Hikikimori's initial coverage, and that was, I mean, he did an extensive
Yes.
breakdown of what was going on, and like he should be praised for bringing this to light and
Yeah.
bringing more eyes to it.
So, yeah, there you have
So
it.
thank you, Hikikimori.
Yeah, thank you. And a pat on our back, too, for covering it. Um, but they fixed the PS5. So they fixed the PS4. They fixed the PS5. Uh, I don't believe they fixed the PS3, right? Um,
The PS3 didn't have that issue.
did
You can
it?
still play it.
Okay. Okay.
I don't recall, but I don't think it
Okay.
had a similar issue. It just like, yes, the battery will die. Maybe for your digital games?
Maybe.
I can't recall.
Yeah. So, but there was yeah, the main issue was
Playing physical games that you
yeah.
currently own,
Yeah.
like you should be able to play them regardless if you're on the internet or not.
And if you have downloaded if you have a purchased digital game,
Digital game.
you should be able to download it and play it whenever you want. Um,
Well, I don't know about downloading it whenever you want, because I mean, like, just look at the Wii eShop. I mean, you can't download any games that you've purchased.
well, how should I say this? As long as they have the capability to deliver you those games,
Fair
you
enough.
should be able to download it and play them whenever you want.
I feel like you should be able to download and play them wherever you want, no matter what, especially if you spent money. I mean, those rules or that expectation is currently being challenged, especially with the onset of mobile gaming. Like
Yes.
there's so many games that I've purchased in the past, let's say early 2000s, just for my iPod, what was it called? Shoot, the iPod that wasn't it had a really nice big iPod Touch,
Yeah.
and yeah, there's so many games that I have on that I can no longer play.
Yeah. Now,
Like that sucks.
keep in mind, I said as long as they have the capability to,
Yeah.
which means until the company goes bankrupt or the company goes defunct. So,
No,
yeah,
I want access to them no matter what, whenever.
they should honestly, yes, they'll have to pay some server upkeep, which is what I bet they're against.
Mm.
But they can package it in a way where it's the bare minimum, like, have the file up there and allow people to access it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be like
Yeah.
super flashy, right? So, yeah, so they fixed the PS5 C bomb. I just wish they would be more, like you said, instead of doing it all stealth mode, they would be more like, hey, we hear you and we're working with you to fix these issues. Instead, they're doing it like, nothing to see here, like
Yeah.
they're fixing it after the fact and
No,
pretending.
no, no. Yeah, they're gaslighting people. Like,
Yeah.
what problem? What are you talking about?
Yo,
That was never an issue.
what are you talking about? Yeah, so that part to me is frustrating. Final story, and this goes into all the stuff we were talking about Genshin Impact. Ubisoft plans to create its own blockchain games to enable more play to earn.
What?
Now, this is not just Ubisoft. I saw an article with EA plans to do the same thing. Of course EA would do the same thing, but let's look at what this is, and then I will kind of talk about what I think it could turn into, right?
Okay.
Ubisoft just concluded its Q2 earnings call, a strange event where relatively okay financial numbers were overshadowed by the company being on the defensive due to delays, allegations, questions about free to play, blah, blah, blah. Ubisoft's future blockchain ambitions were mentioned both in its earnings release and a few times during the call. As noted in its press release, Ubisoft is funding blockchain gaming company Animoca Brands, which advertises itself on its website as the global leader in branded blockchain gaming. Animoca's current project includes Rev Motorsport, Rev Racing, and the upcoming game Formula E High Voltage, all of which use the same token called Rev to enable players to own digital assets and collect NFT in game items. It also has a game called The Sandbox, a virtual world full of NFTs called Sand. In addition to its funding of Animoca, Ubisoft is a founding member of the Blockchain Game Alliance and has been exploring the technology generally since its early development. CFO Frederick Dugois, I don't know how to say that, specifically called blockchain a revolution on the call. It seems like everyone is getting into blockchain these days, but what does this mean for Ubisoft games? Uh, Blockchain will imply more play to earn than will enable more players to actually earn content, own content, and we think it's going to grow the industry quite a lot, Guillemot said. We've been working with lots of small companies going on blockchain, and we're starting to have a good know-how on how it can impact the industry, and we want to be one of the key players here. Um, so, blockchain NFTs and everything associated with them have been extremely controversial as they've gained mainstream attention in recent years, most notably due to their immense negative environmental. Okay, let's not get into that. That's a huge discussion in and of itself. But also due to the red alert levels of scams. Okay, I'm not going to get into these other side arguments here. We're only focused on gaming.
I mean, it's just there's so much to unpack. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Okay. So let me just kind of go over the basics. All right.
Mm.
So essentially, what they're saying is, okay, when you play a game with microtransactions, right? They have like Genshin Impact. They have different currencies, right?
Yes.
Well, the way this would work is you would have a blockchain that would have a cryptocurrency designed for buying in-game digital assets, right? So it's kind of a similar thing. It's a game currency, right? But
Yes.
it interacts with the blockchain, meaning, okay, let's say there's this really sweet, let's say it's an RPG, or okay, they were talking about a racing game. Let's say it's a racing game. And there's an awesome car, right? And you want this car. And so it's a custom car, right? There's only one.
Yes.
They create the car, they put it on the blockchain.
That's what's called an NFT.
Yeah, that's the NFT part. You then purchase that NFT using the game token, right? And now you have access to that NFT in the game. and that's what they're pushing towards. So
But wait a second. Where does the initial currency come from?
you buy it with money. But you have to buy it with money, like everything. Even Bitcoin, all of them. You have to buy them with money first, right?
But they are changing the currency of the money from,
Well, okay.
wherever you're from into cryptocurrency?
Okay, so here's the thing. There's two forms, right? You can buy it with money, or they were saying earning it in the game, right? So let's say so there's multiple ways you can do this. You can buy it with money, or you can earn it through doing certain things in the game or an environment. Here's an example. Have you ever heard of Steam It?
No.
So Steam It was a cryptocurrency, and the way it worked is they built a kind of like a blog site, right, where you could post articles and stuff like that. And if you posted an article that people liked, they could give you Steam, right? So they could like thumbs up, and you would generate Steam. Then
Okay.
you could take that Steam, which was a cryptocurrency, you could sell it for real money, or you could stake it to generate more Steam. I know it sounds ridiculous, but just bear with me.
Yes.
So there was a mechanic on the blockchain that interacted with this blog, where essentially you were voting on blog posts and saying this is a good blog post, and then the blockchain, or not the blockchain, but the
Steam.
nodes would have a consensus. Okay, this is a good post. We're gonna we just mined 10 coins. We're gonna give this popular blog post one one coin of Steam or whatever,
Okay.
and then it would go to the user. And so it's all integrated, right? The blockchain, think of the blockchain as it's just a database, right? It's where everything is stored. It's where all the data is stored, right? So the NFT is on the blockchain, right? But when you interact with the NFT in the game, all you're saying is, "Hey, I own this NFT. Here's the proof," because you have your keys, right? That show like your public key. Hey, I have access to this NFT. Here's my public key showing that this is my NFT, and then it appears in the game for you, right? It's I know it's hard to explain, and it's like I feel like I'm not doing it any justice trying to explain it. I feel like I'm making it more confusing, but it's
I
just
mean, I mean, to be honest, I find cryptocurrency and NFTs in general confusing, so it could be just me as well. So I apologize for my
no, no,
ignorance on
no.
the
It's
subject.
fine. It's fine, dude. I buy cryptocurrency. It's like one of my little side hobby things, and
Yes.
I like it. I read a lot about it, but NFTs are just a a tokenized representation of digital media, right?
Yes.
That's it. So a car in a video game is digital media. So it can be tokenized. But the problem is that if you're making a game that's based on this principle of NFTs and the market and all this stuff, you're basically like opening your game up to the volatility of the market, right?
Mm.
Manipulation of the market, scammers. There's so much baggage that goes with cryptocurrency. Now, that being said, I'm not saying that I think because of that they shouldn't do it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it's going to be very hard to have a game that's seamless for users to play and interact with when they have this whole, cryptocurrency ecosystem tied to the game at the same time. Um, it's going to make it more laborious, should I say, to go out and get this currency and then to use this currency to try and, purchase this item. Or if it's a one of one, you have to bid on it, right? It's not just going to be like, here's a super rare car, you know, just buy it. That's not how it's going to work. There's going to be, you're going to be competing with thousands of gamers to bid and buy this item, and then the price is going to skyrocket. You see what I'm saying?
What I'm hearing ultimately is that this isn't my kind of game, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look. I think.
I'm gonna be stepping this one out.
Yeah, I think. Uh, I think using it, finding a way to use cryptocurrency and NFTs and the blockchain in a very what's the word? Complementary way
Okay.
to video games, right?
Yes.
So not just taking a traditional game and then forcing it to couple to the crypto environment, but finding a way to make a game that is complemented by the crypto environment. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that there's not this forcing of the two technologies. We got to find a way to make them work together. That's what I'm saying. And I think that's going to be the future. There's going to be a lot of experimentation with gaming and crypto till somebody comes up with a formula where it just works. You see what I'm saying? And then based on that, you're going to spawn a whole new generation of these games. So I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just saying it's not going to be as easy as just putting NFTs and attaching a cryptocurrency to a game. That's what I'm saying. It's a little bit more involved than that. You're going to have to find a way for them to complement each other. And so that's what I'm looking forward to see, the evolution of that. Now, at the same time, would it be hell on earth if every single game tried to do this? I think yes. I think you still have to maintain your traditional games, and then you can have these new, crypto-based games. But I just don't see them fully replacing traditional games at all. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because traditional games they're just fun. They're just easy to pick up. You don't need a million tutorials to figure out how to do it.
No, agreed. I mean, shoot, just last night I was playing on my GameCube. I was showing you Geo specifically. I messaged him. I was like, check it out. I got the GCHD Mark II, connected that to my HD TV,
Yeah.
and was playing Metroid Prime. I'm trying to figure out how to get the GCHD Mark II to work with or in tandem with the M Classic, and I'm having a hard time doing that. But aside from that, I mean, I was capable of playing that, the Naruto games on the GameCube, Skies of Arcadia, and even some Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah.
Via the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy player attached
Yeah.
to the GameCube, and all I do is just put in the game and play it.
Yeah.
And I can play the full game.
Yeah.
And both Gio and I are collectors, and I see how the future is getting more convoluted, more complicated, and less user friendly.
Yeah.
And by user friendly, I mean, I guess in terms of ownership, you're not going to be owning your games. It's going to be all digital. They're going to be changing things. A great example is the recent, which I'm surprised you didn't even bring this up, the GTA trilogy, and how Rockstar went ahead and just demolished any semblance of the original GTA trilogy from actual, storefronts.
No.
From digital
We covered it.
Well, no, we covered it, but
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm just saying, like, the new ones have come out to such a to a point where even the mods for the old things have been wiped.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Yeah. And that was one of our concerns when we discussed it last time.
Yeah.
We were talking
So
about how are they going to erase it from everything? We weren't sure, but
and they have.
well, they have. Okay.
And so like even the digital ownership rights of games is incredibly shaky
Yeah.
from a user standpoint. Another one, GTA 4, how because of licensing issues, they removed a lot of music, so you can't even play it the way that it was originally made. Um,
Yeah.
so like I keep hearing like all these changes, all these newfound fangled ways of playing games, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm glad I have my old games.
Yeah. Well, I
I'm
will
glad I
say
have my
this.
old systems.
The principle of NFTs is that you do own it outright, right? They,
You own a digital item
you
outright.
yes, you own a digital item outright. Now, um, that is the big difference, right? So you do own the digital item outright. Now, that being said, every single game is not going to be able to have its own cryptocurrency, and the reason why I say that is because in order for a cryptocurrency to run, you have to have nodes which run the core software, right?
Yes.
There's just not enough computers for every game to have their own cryptocurrency. And even if,
Not enough computers yet.
I know, right? Well, even if there was, you wouldn't want that. You would want to verify the nodes. You would want to have consensus, which means that, you know, I would, for example, I would back if so I'm going to look into this gaming currency in this article, but I would back a gaming currency that was open source, right? Because if the gaming currency is controlled by a handful of organizations, then they can manipulate it. You know what I mean? But if the gaming currency is open source and everyone can run consensus on their own personal node, then it's more trustworthy. And then I would trust that those NFTs that I purchase are mine. You see what I'm saying? But it
You think Ubisoft's not going to do that?
well, here's the way that crypto works: is whoever controls the most computing power, the most nodes, can vote on the blockchain and make changes to the way that the algorithm works.
Mm.
So if Ubisoft or whatever company controls the whole thing, they can make changes without your consent. And who knows what that'll do to the worth of your NFT that you might have paid $100 for, or you might have grind 100 hours for. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, no, of course.
Yeah,
I mean that leads me back to the whole digital rights thing, which we were just talking about,
yeah,
where yes, you own that thing digitally speaking, but there's so many factors outside of that
yes,
that can change the value of the item that you own. What's the point?
exactly. So that's why I'm saying I would be looking for an open source gaming currency, and I would assume that like more indie games would probably kind of use that type of NFT or not NFT, kind of crypto. They would probably use a more open source crypto that they could plug into their game. But I don't trust a blockchain or whatever you want to call it that is controlled by a handful of people, because they can change the underlying consensus protocols. I guess is the proper term. I don't know. This is very complex. It's very nuanced. It's now in the
And there's a shit
future.
ton of factors.
Yeah, in the future, what we're gonna delve into is the metaverse. So I didn't pick that this week because all these topics are already pretty dense. But but stay tuned because we're gonna be covering the metaverse coming up. So
And I'll be just as ignorant because I don't know what the hell's going on.
yeah, in the metaverse, this all ties into the metaverse, or what people assume is going to become the metaverse, or
I'm just saying, like, our dystopian cyberpunk future is looking so lame compared to all the 80s representations of our retro futures.
I know, man. It's
It
not as
freaking
cool.
sucks.
It's not as cool, man. It's really not. It's like, dude, like, did you see any movie where a Shiba Inu dog was like the future of like
D- d- d-
crowd-funded currency.
Doja coin,
There's three of them now, man.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Let's not get
Yeah,
into that.
but it's lame.
But yeah, there you have it. That's it for this week. I hope you all enjoyed. If you like any part of the podcast, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what you think of any of these topics. Are we wrong? Are we right? Is there some things we got right? Let us know.
Do you want me to learn more about cryptocurrency?
Yeah. Do you want Josie to take a class in cryptocurrency?
I don't have YouTube Red, and I keep getting those YouTube advertisements. It's like, learn about cryptocurrency.
Yeah, crypto.com.
Yeah, get the hell away from me. Learn about money. Shut up.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you all have a good week.
Yeah, take care and keep on gaming.
Keep on gaming. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Games I Speak. If you liked the episode, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.